Halloween. A holiday that us Australians don't even do unless it's dressing up as something stupid and getting drunk with mates. But I want to do something special. Because of how it's Halloween and Pokémon Scarlet and Violet is coming out in a couple weeks, I figured, what's the scariest thing I can do about Pokemon? I know, a tier list based off my opinions. Now, if I'm gonna do this video, I need to dress up as something scary. Granted, I could just stay how I am now, but I mean, come on, where's the fun in that? So, actually, I do have an idea. This is gonna hurt. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm a disappointment. Well, it's safe to say that I'm absolutely disgusted with this transformation and I hate myself completely, so it looks like it worked. And don't worry guys, I'm not going to start impersonating him by being sexist or ableist, anything of the sort. I am still me, I just look 10 times uglier. Alright, now time to finally start the tier list. While this is going to be my opinion, I will try my best to explain why I think this Pokemon may be good, why this Pokemon may be bad, and etc. And not just give the same excuses, oh, it doesn't look like a Pokemon, oh, not enough detail, oh, too much detail, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to do that whatsoever. I will give legitimate reasons why I may like and not like a Pokemon. So let's get this started with, well, the starters. For me, the starter Pokemon has always been a perfect blend of simple and detailed design. Not too simple to the point where it looks like an early route Pokemon, but detailed enough to the point where it looks and feels special. I mean, after all, this is meant to be the only one that you're able to get. Then breeding came along. Regardless of that, every single starter Pokemon since Generation 1 all the way to Generation 8 has always had that sort of pattern. And of course, Generation 9 is no different. To go from right to left, Fuecoco is an easy A. Not only for the reasons I stated earlier, but overall it's a really nice design. The colors work nice together. I love the fact on how it's a crocodile. And I also love how the white on his face kind of reminds me of a skull. It's really cool. Speaking of really cool, we also have Quaxly. Because here's the thing, despite how Scarlet and Violet is around the corner, I am still having a hard time picking between Fuecoco or Quaxly for my first adventure. I find Quaxly just as cute as Fuecoco, and the fact on how it has a W on its forehead, it looks cool, it looks confident, it looks slick, and the fact that I can see this thing kicking your ass while fixing its hair, now that is a Pokemon right there. Now, Sprigatito, I'm not gonna lie, while I'm not a huge fan of it compared to the other two, it is still a strong design. Now, if that's the case, why is it in B tier? Just something about it that makes me feel like it's not as good as the other two. And it doesn't help the fact on how this is literally a grass type Litten. And it really doesn't help that, although this is just purely leaks and this was from months ago, apparently Sprigatito's final evolution is just going to be a grass female version of Incineroar. And the fact that I can see that happening doesn't leave me that much hope. It's not even a bad idea necessarily, but I don't know. I think Litten is okay, so I think Sprigatito is okay. Let's talk about the legendaries next, because you know what? I'm taking off the costume for this one, because I gotta vent about this. Look, even after making this video, which by the way, thank you guys for the support, and if you haven't seen it already, please go check it out, as well as the Wooper video as well. After reading the comments on that meme video, as well as just kind of, just taking a step back and really thinking about this, they did Coridon so dirty. I'm sorry, but what the fuck is this? Because when it comes to legendaries like Ho-Oh and Lugia, Groudon, Kyogre, Dialga and Palkia, and etc., they are essentially two peas in a pod. to use Dialga and Palkia for an example, one is the god of space and the other one's a god of time. So despite both of them being completely different, they are also the same and treated equally. And at first, Coradon and Miraidon were no different, with Coradon looking like a motorbike dragon of the past, giving off this tribal wild sort of vibe, while Miraidon looks like a motorbike dragon of the future, giving off this extremely high-tech and almost alien-like sort of vibe. But then they completely fuck it up by making Coradon not being able to use its wheels? And I know it's not actually its wheels. I know that the front is a pouch and the back is just it's curling up its tail. But as you can see right here, what is the point of this? It looks like it's constantly hitting the fucking ground. There is no way that this is actually efficient. I don't even understand what they were thinking. Let's make both the legendaries motorbikes, but one of them is an actual motorbike. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. For me personally, they should have done it to where Coradon is actually a quad bike rather than a motorbike. Make it so in this form, its tail is still out and its pouch could be a bit inflated, but when it's on its four wheels, it will occasionally use its legs to push it forward. That way, it could keep the momentum going. And those same wheels on the side of its arms and legs could easily be used as armored plates. In my opinion, the only thing that saves Coradon is the fact on how it has more of a personality than Miraidon. And while I do really like Coradon, considering the other factors, I'm gonna have to put Miraidon in S and Coradon in A. You know, it just kind of dawned on me how Pokemon Violet is getting so much of a better treatment than Pokemon Scarlet, taking a lot of things into consideration. God damn it. I'm gonna try and speed things up a little bit, so for B, I put Lechonk and Smoliv. Both of them are really strong early route Pokemon, with Lechonk being a cute pig with an amazing name, and Smoliv, its overall design really does convey that it's a anxious little Pokemon, that if you get too close to that thing, it will spray you with Olive to slow you down, and it will fuck off immediately. And as you may have noticed, I put Palmy in A tier because while it is an early route Pokemon just like Lechonk and Smoliv, for me personally, I prefer Palmy more than Smoliv and Lechonk. It's cute, it looks tough, it looks really huggable, it's an easy A. Cyclizar, at least for me, I feel like is also a pretty easy choice for A. Overall, it has a really nice design, a nice color palette, and it's designed really nicely and not so crazy and over the top like Coradon, which isn't a bad thing by the way. For another Pokemon in B, while I don't really care about Fido all that much, it still conveys that it's a pastry dog really nicely and overall looks like an actual dog unlike the costume I'm wearing. Seriously, when was the last time you saw a dog with emo hair doing a Mario pose? For this next one, if you were to ask me which one I prefer over the other, I would have said Titan over Grafaiai. At first I didn't mind Titan, but the more I look at it, the more I feel like its design is not quite there yet. Quite similar to, if not exactly like Dreadnought, both of them give me this feeling of awkward middle stage evolution that, once it evolves, will look 10 times better. We didn't get that with Dreadnought, and I have a confident feeling that we're not gonna get that with Titan either. One of the obvious reasons is that Titan's mouth looks weird, but to be honest, I feel like that argument alone feels a bit too redundant. For me, it's not just the mouth, but I feel like it's also the fins on the side. I feel like they're a bit too big for Titan. Maybe they could have been shrunken down a little bit. As for the legs, I feel like it really would have benefited from having like these strong, muscular, sturdy looking legs, with the legs screaming of it will jump, and if it kicks you with those legs, you're done. But as it is right now, it feels like wasted potential. I genuinely hope Titan does get an evolution rather than a pre-evolution, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. While I have warmed up to Grafaiai since it was initially revealed, I still can't help but feel it's a bit messy. I feel like the colors are mix matching, nothing sort of fits with it. I didn't even know it had a hoodie until I did the Felicify video. And in saying that, to me it does not look like a hoodie at all. And I honestly wish that the hoodie was a lot more loose, it looked more like fabric, and that its ears were like, kind of popping out of the hoodie. Like Graphite had to cut a hole out so that it can fit its ears into the hoodie. Speaking of I think its eyes are a bit too alien for this Pokemon. If it was like Apalm's eyes, but more of a horizontal oval, I feel like that would have fit a lot better. Hell, I think some sunglasses would actually kind of work with this Pokemon and show that it's, mischievous. But for what it is, I don't mind it. I do think Graphite is a good looking Pokemon to an extent, in my opinion. So that's why I'm personally ranking it over Titan, because while I may have the same amount of issues with Titan like I do with Graphite, the difference is I'm okay with Graphite's design. Titan I feel like could be a lot better. Cloth and Graveyard, I put them in B, but in all honesty, maybe with a bit more time and more convincing, I might put them in A. Cloth is pretty solid. That's it. It is a bit weird seeing how it's not a steel type despite looking very metallic. Overall, I still feel like it's a good design. It's just that end of the day, and compared to the other Pokemon, I don't care about it that much. So that's why for me personally, it's going in B. With Graveyard, I think I would have put in this in an A. The only thing is that I'm not a huge fan of the breed of dog that Graveyard is based off, so that's really the only reason why I'm putting it in B, because everything else I feel like is really strong. The face, the nose, and the jaw is really nice. The fur looks good, the color palette is great, and the candle on top of its head, it really brings the design together. Plus, it's a good boy. Granted, it'll fucking kill ya, but it's a good boy. It didn't mean no harm. I'm also seeing a lot of people saying that it's going to be a ghost fire, but in all honesty, I think it's going to be a ghost ground. Purely for the fact on how it's, burrowing underground, it's digging underground. So, let me know. Question of the day, I guess. Do you think Graveyard's going to be a ghost fire, or do you think it's going to be a ghost ground? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. For me personally, I think it's going to be a ghost ground type Pokemon. My brother thinks it's going to be ghost fire, but of course, he's wrong. By the way, did anyone else notice that the Graveyards were doing a summoning circle? No? Just me? Okay then. Moving on, Bellybolt and Giraffafreaky. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Farigarath? Is that how you pronounce it? Look, I'm really struggling with that name, okay? Bear with me. Anyway, Giraffafreak's evolution is fine. I love how its black calf has now risen to the top and essentially become a helmet for the thing. Other than that, however, that's kind of it. I never really cared for Giraffafreak, and the fact that its evolution is a normal psychic rather than a dark psychic, for me personally, I'm not a huge fan of that either, so it's gonna be sitting in B. Bellybolt is a mixed bag for a lot of people. Some people love it, some people absolutely hate it. And to all those people that hate this Pokemon, what is wrong with you? This thing's fucking adorable. Believe me, I try to understand why people dislike Bellybolt so much, but I just don't understand it. From the shape, to the color scheme, to overall what it's based on, Bellybolt is a really strong Pokemon. I understand that the things on his side looks a bit too much like eyes, and while I do agree with that, and even now I still can't help but see those as eyes, I don't think that's necessarily a bad design choice. I think that was genuinely done on purpose. But regardless of that, for me, Bellybolt is an A tier. Alright, let's talk about the regional form and the regional fake. So while I can't help but feel like Wiglet is a byproduct of the designers were really lazy, couldn't think of anything, so they're like, I got it, let's rip off Diglett's design, make it its own Pokemon, and then say it's a regional fake. Jokes aside though, aside from it being a very simple and goofy design, pulling it off really well, there's not much else I can really say about it. But I do like the concept of regional fakes, looking very similar to another Pokemon, but being completely different species entirely. I mean, Wiglet is an eel, while Diglett's a mole. And I genuinely hope we get more in the future, except I hope it doesn't become one of those things where, oh, we need to fill up the Pokédex, let's just push this out. Like, I genuinely hope regional fakes will be more like, oh yeah, we could add a couple more, rather than trying to fill out the Pokédex. And yeah. To move on, holy crap, I love Paldean Wooper so much. Because on its own, Wooper is already a nicely designed Pokemon. It looks cute, it looks derpy, and it works really well. But the reason why I like Paldean Wooper even more so is because with Wooper, it only looks like a water type. To me, it looks like it only represents its water typing. Paldean Wooper, on the other hand, actually looks like a ground and poison type Pokemon. To me, they made a perfect first stage evolution into a even more perfect first stage evolution. And I am very curious what Paldean's Quagsire is going to look like, if at all is going to turn into Quagsire. I have no idea, but regardless, it is 100% going on my team. Last two Pokemon, and it's a no-brainer. Armarouge and Cerulege are an easy S tier. And don't get me wrong, I know that Cerulege in terms of design is significantly better than Armarouge, but I don't care. Armarouge is my Mega Man reference boy. I will stick by him to the very end. Honestly, even if you prefer Cerulege over Armarouge or Armarouge over Cerulege, you cannot blame me for putting them in S tier. Do I even need to explain why I'm putting them in S tier? Both of them are really strong designed Pokemon. The color palette looks amazing. The overall concept is amazing. Just, these two are perfect. I genuinely think these two are perfect with the right amount of edginess. And I know people have a problem with humanoid Pokemon, but my response? These are monsters. And I can definitely see these two being absolute monsters. Especially in competitive, man. I am so excited to just see what these two are capable of, because I know it's going to be a lot. And with that, we are done. My opinionated tier list of the Pokemon that was officially revealed in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as of Halloween 2022. Now, if I were to put these in actual order, I'm not going to, I can't be fucked.
But what about the engine Pokemon as well as the ones on the Minimar? What the fuck happened to your face? You look like you got your face ran over by a steamroller with spikes.
Hey, easy there, don't freak out, this is just my Halloween costume.
Oh okay, actually Grim, why do you smell like gasoline and shit?
I can think of a couple of reasons, but as of right now, I just want to get out of this stupid costume. Seriously, I feel disgusting. Alright, here we go in 3, 2, 1. Finally back in my own skin. Well, that's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let me know your personal thoughts on what you think about the Pokemon in this generation. Because I understand that it is mixed, and that's completely fair. Obviously, not everyone is going to have the same opinion about each and every single Pokemon, but still, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts.
Wait, you didn't answer my question.
Oh, right, so while they were kind of shown off, at the same time, they weren't shown off like the other Pokemon. They weren't shown off like Cetitan, they weren't shown off like Grafaiai, Giraffrig's evolution, so I'm not going to count them for now until we actually get a name and gameplay. Until then, I think it's safe to put them in B for now, because from what we have seen, they're really nicely designed, but that's really all I can comment on.
Okay, that's fair. Anyways, we hope to see you guys soon.
That's right, and hope you guys have a wonderful day, evening, and or night. Happy Halloween, and until then, Laterz.